My name's Diane, I'm working in the weaving shed and I'm working at the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum. But that's really what we're doing here, is showing how the old machinery works. Most people have seen pictures of a loom, or they've actually seen a loom but they haven't seen them working. So it gives people an idea of basically an old craft that's dying out, and people can see the looms working, and it revives people's interest. Which is quite important in this computer age, I think. And also remember, your first the first computers were actually derived from the pattern machines of looms. Now this would have been a cottage industry. You'd have had the women in the family, grandmother, mother, daughters. They'd have all been spinning away. You needed 4 to 5 spinners to one weaver, but the hand weavers were nearly always men. Because the women were spinning, but also because it was physically hard work. And then in the late 1850s here, they started to introduce the power looms. By 1905, you had over 32,000 power looms being used in the mills in Ulster, and the cottage industry couldn't compete with that, so it went into decline. We do have linen looms, but we keep them out in the countryside in a cottage with an earth floor, where there's a little bit of dampness, because if you weave the linen in damper conditions, you get a cloth that's about 20% stronger. So out there we had the linen looms fitted up with a pattern machine to weave damask linen. In here I'm weaving tweed. Now there wouldn't have been as much tweed weaving here as there was linen, but I mean there was still quite a lot of wool woven. It was such a big industry here that it was, I mean, Belfast was called Leonopolis.
My name's Jackson Cohen and I do blacksmithing here at the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum. Basically in the museum here we do repairs to any metal stuff that needs repaired, like a gates, we stuff for houses, bars for doors, door knockers, make hooks and cranes to go over fires, and just general repairs and whatnot. And plus we do demonstrations for the public, usually making something of our own choice just out of the metal that's here, using all the traditional tools here, which this is pumping air into the fire. In the fire you would get a hot spot about the size of an orange that'll actually melt the steel. So I'm just taking this bit of metal out of the fire now, and what I'm going to do is I'll bend it over the anvil here. You can see how easy the metal bends there once it's heated up. The metal was hardly just hot enough there.
Okay, right. Well, I'm Merle Osborne, and I'm a spinner here at the Ulster Folk and Transport Museum, and I would be in this cottage every day to demonstrate spinning, as it would have been in the 19th century and in some places the early 20th century. I can do both spinning, that's spinning for the loom and spinning for knitting. They're quite distinct. We have 2 flocks of sheep here in the museum. We have Mourne black-faced sheep, and they have a very hard-wearing, long fleeced coat, and it would have been used for tweed weaving long ago. Then we have a flock of Galway sheep. Their wool is softer and it's more what we call lofty or woolly. Traps plenty of air in it, very suitable for knitting, and earlier on in the last century it would have been used for Aran knitwear. Both are hard wearing, they're full of grease, and people would have worn it because it was waterproof and windproof. So I do both. At the moment I have Mourne black-faced sheep fleece on my spinning wheel. So the first thing you actually have to do in order to spin a yarn is to make sure that it's well carded. This is a very long fleece, as you can see it's about 8 inches long, that's 20 centimetres, and we flick it. That gets rid of all the short bits of fibre, and it opens the fibres up so that they'll be able to draft them out when I come to spin. So you can see that's quite different to what we had earlier. It's now open, you can see through it, rather than this rather matted staple here. Okay, so it's a simple matter of starting off spinning again. I'll hold the carded lock in my right hand, and I'll take some of the yarn that's already on the bobbin, and we'll feed it through the spindle. Now, to join a new lock, we overlap the two. So you're joining an unspun fibre to an unspun fibre. Start the wheel spinning, let it catch a little twist, draft it out, let in more twist, and it locks together, and that joins the fleece together. So basically now what I'm doing is I'm pinching the fibres between my left hand, finger and thumb. I'll have to do that bit again. And that forms it into a thread. So it's pinch, draft out, twist, pinch, draft out, twist. They would have used lichens to dye the wool. We can't use it, of course, nowadays because lichens are a protected species. Also bog water, iris roots,